The big idea is to not really play the game of social media like a lot of people think of. We're going to think of it in the opposite way and apply timeless marketing principles to the modern day landscape. So these are marketing principles that apply anywhere in any industry, and we're just using social media in the current landscape of things to apply those principles to it versus trying to become a content creator and go viral and get all these followers. So all those things are kind of a byproduct of applying these principles, because what happens is you start resonating with people. You start connecting with people on a personal level. They are bought in on you, and then they start to follow you and watch your content, and that does lead to more views and followers. But again, it's kind of the byproduct of building that foundation first. So that's basically why everything works. That's the big idea. And marketing principles like I talked about. So the very basic thing is attention. Like Tim mentioned, you have to show up in front of people for them to be able to even be interested in what you're talking about, and then ultimately convert into a client for you. So on the basic level, the easiest and quickest way that I found to get attention is on social media, where people are already hanging out, they're on their phones all the time, we're all guilty of it, we're scrolling through the apps on Facebook, Instagram, all of these platforms. So because all the attention is there, if you're able to just show up on people's phones, then you're gonna start getting their attention. And if what you're saying is interesting and resonates with the problems that they have, they'll start to listen to you. And then you're able to just message them, book a call with them, and then convert those people into clients. So like I mentioned, these are things that have been proven for decades across all industries, and social media is just the distribution channel that we're using. And like Tim mentioned, video content is the second best thing to what I'm doing right now. I'm standing here face to face talking to each and every one of you. If I can't do that, I can record myself like I'm talking to each and every one of you one-on-one and just put that online, get people's attention and get people to see that content. And once they consume it, they will kind of build trust with me and ultimately want to work together with me. So we'll talk a little bit about the old way in terms of marketing and generating leads. So if any of you in this room have ever tried boosting posts on Instagram, has anyone ever tried that? It's not that it's bad, but there are kind of better ways to go about that. Collecting cold leads with forms. So this is another way if you go to networking events and kind of just have forms where people can fill out leads, or if you run any advertisements online where you're collecting lead information. A lot of the times those leads are not as qualified, or you'll call them and they'll say, who is this? I don't even know who you are. There's ways we'll talk about to work around that. And then the last is just chasing people, like I mentioned, doing the constant follow-up. Not to say that you shouldn't do that, but there's more efficient ways to do that. And then also hoping, because hope is not necessarily a strategy. We have to take some action here and kind of put some effort out to get something back in return. So when we're talking about the new way, it's building trust first, and we're doing that with the content, like Tim mentioned. So we're getting ourselves on the camera, making video content and showing our personality, showing how we can help people, and basically just showing our expertise to everybody else. The warm leads are actually coming to you, because the way this works is we're running these ads locally. So we're showing up on people's phones, talking about how you can solve their problem. So for you guys, maybe it's, hey, are you looking to buy a home in Eastern North Carolina? Are you tired of living in a place where there's no constant sunshine, there's no beach, there's whatever the problems are that your ideal client has, you're bringing up all those problems and then just positioning yourself as a solution to that. So you're telling them, hey, come check out my page, come follow me if you want to learn about how you can live in coastal Carolina and learn about all what it's all about. So that's the basis of it. And this way, we're actually warming up leads once they find your content. And then you're able to close those leads faster, and they're a lot higher quality because they're already consuming all of this content of you before they ever reach out. So versus collecting a cold lead form and calling a person right off the bat, you're just providing value and educating them about what you do through your content. And then when they're warmed up and ready, they'll reach out to you and schedule that call with you. So that's kind of the old way versus the new way. And we'll talk a little bit more about the specifics of how we can do that. So like I talked about with boosting the random posts, is that there's not much of a strategy behind that. So boosting the post is just going to put it out to a bunch of people. But if there's no strategy behind the post, if there's no messaging in that post that really resonates with the person you're trying to speak to, it would be like me walking in this room and just saying like, hey, and like how many people would look at me, versus if I was like, hey, John's going to look right at me because I'm speaking directly to him. So that's kind of where the strategy comes in. With our content, we want to speak directly to the person that we can help, and that's going to ensure that we get their attention and that we can actually resonate with them. So that's where the strategy comes in. And then getting out of this mindset of chasing like likes and views and all those things, they are kind of just the vanity metrics, whereas what really matters is, like Tim mentioned, I don't even know if he follows me, to be honest, but he has seen all of my content. I don't think he likes any of my posts. I don't think he comments on my posts. But the basis is that he's seeing the content, right? He's seeing the content. He's seeing everything I'm putting out, and he's seen it all.
I've seen you eat pizza in it where you're there.
Absolutely.
I'm not stalking you.
Yeah. So that's kind of the mindset I want to get everybody in, is like everyone thinks of the metrics as like, man, that's my metric for performance. Whereas people are seeing your content, they're watching. Like they might not be engaging, they might not be liking or messaging you about it, but they're constantly consuming your content. And they're seeing everything that you're doing. So you're just building that relationship with people pretty much 24/7 through the content that you're creating. So 3 beliefs. I'll try to run through this pretty quickly here so we can keep it high level. But there's basically 3 things that every buyer needs to be sold on before they are ready to make a purchasing decision. So the first thing is you. So does the person trust who is behind the business? So you can build this through your content by including your personality, including yourself into the content. So instead of walking into a house and pointing your camera out and saying, hey guys, check out this listing. Here's the address, here's where it's located, here's all the cool stuff about it. Just turn the camera around and put yourself on there and then say that same thing. Hey guys, I'm at this property, I'm walking you through here, this is what it looks like if you live here, here's the kitchen, here's the backyard, everything. Now you're injecting yourself into the content and people are seeing you. So regardless of what you're saying, I could just go on the camera and eat pizza like Tim was saying or do anything. People are just seeing my face and I'm staying top of mind with them because they're always seeing me show up. But a lot of people miss out on that if they're only showing out of the backside of the camera versus just flipping it around and including themselves into that. So that's what's gonna sell people on you. Second is your method. So this would just be, does what you actually do get people results? So for you guys, do you actually get homeowners into the home, their dream home that they're dreaming of? The way you can establish this is just showing and talking about your own processes in your content. So telling people about what you do differently, about how your customer service is, about all the things that you do that separate you from everybody else. So that way we're selling people on you as a person, we're selling them on your method of what you actually do to get people results. And then lastly is just your offer. So does the person feel like if they invest in you as a service provider, are they gonna get outsized returns from that investment? And all that trust and those beliefs are basically built all through your content. So just putting you into your content, talking about the expertise that you provide, and then just getting that content in front of the people that you can actually help. So that's the basis of everything there when it comes to content. And next, awareness. So I'll breeze through this as well. This is a little more in-depth in terms of marketing, like I mentioned, but to apply it to you guys, just keep in mind, a certain percentage of the market is going to be completely unaware of what you do. They're going to be completely unaware that they have a problem, so they don't even know that, like, I don't have a house yet and I need to buy one. They're not going to be aware of the solution that you can actually help them buy a home. And then lastly, they're not even going to be aware of the product or be most aware of all of those things underneath that. But basically, all this is just to say that with your content, a lot of people are only making content for the most aware section of the market. So they're only making content for people who know all of these things. And to apply it to real estate, you're missing out on basically 80% of the marketplace by only creating content about, hey, here's a house that's ready to buy right now. You can educate people about what to look for when they want to buy their first home. You can educate people about the area to look at when they're buying a home. You can educate them about all of these different things. And that's where people miss out, is that they only focus on one section of that and they're only speaking to the people that are most aware. But when you do that, you're not building that trust like we talked about earlier. You're not selling people on you, you're not selling people on your method and then your offer and all the rest of those things.
Example of problem that they're aware of. If you're a homeowner and you have a list of clients that you have to deal with, they might not really understand that they ought to change out their water heater and flush it out.
There we go.
They may not understand this about their house or that, and you know all those things. So I'm the expert. Here's the problem. You got to change out your water heater. Here's the problem. Onslow County Tax is going to reassess this year, and if you get an assessment, that's going to be based off of how much more you're going to pay in tax. So give me a call if you do end up having a problem with too high of a tax value because your taxes are going to go up. There is the problem that they could be aware of or even completely unaware of it. And that teaches them to call you with the problem.
Yeah, that's helpful to hear.
Instead of each.
Yeah, that's helpful to hear because, again, like, I'm not 100% familiar with all the intricacies of real estate, but because you all are experts, just keep in mind something like that might be second nature to you, but to someone like me who's a complete outsider, I had no clue about any of those things. So just by me hearing you speak about that, I immediately see him as an expert because he's teaching me something that I didn't even think was a problem to begin with. So that's something to keep in mind with the content. So basically why this works, like we've already talked about, is that the content is just building trust before you ever talk to somebody. So it's just getting you in front of people, like Tim mentioned, you're getting their attention, you're getting them to know about you before you even send them a message or before you even call them or have a conversation with them. And then by the time that they do message you, they're already bought in, right? They already believe in you, they've already seen your content, they've established that you are that expert and that authority. And then lastly, this is just a side note here, like a lot of the clients that we've worked with now, they've already watched 5+ more of our posts on Instagram. They've been to our YouTube channel and seen all that content beforehand. And that has just come from us creating content beforehand, almost being proactive. Like we know there's gonna be certain questions people are gonna have to ask us before they wanna work with us. So what we've done is just created video content that answers all of those questions that they would have in their mind. And then we send them to that content so that they can get all their questions answered. And then once they have all this clarity and know that we can help them, by the time they get on a call with us, they already know everything that we do.
Maybe I'm missing it, but I do watch it on social media. And the one thing that puzzles me, I do see the different clients. Like I already know what you're going to do with here and what you're going to post, most likely. And you might not speak about exactly what our line of work is. So I'm watching those people, the different clients, and I don't necessarily know exactly what they're doing. And I think you do that by design. Because you're driving to your traffic, but I can tell you're helping different businesses.
Right, yeah, so the whole basis of that is the personal brand. So even beyond that, I'm just posting photos that's positioning me as a person that works with other business owners. Sure. So that when people come to my page, they can picture themselves working with me because they are business owners. So like for you guys, a great opportunity of that would be like events like this. You're going out, you're networking within your community, just document that. Take a picture of it, take a picture of the group and be like, hey guys, we just had a networking event with everybody here today, and go post that. Because now when people see that, they're going to say, oh, this person works with other real estate agents. They help people, they network with people, right? They are getting involved with the community. So the whole idea behind that is really just showing that you're actively doing the thing.
So what's the point of you posting that you just ran 7 miles on Rifle Beach? Is that like you just...
That's a good question. That's more of a relatable type of piece of content. So it's not always selling. Right. That's the goal. Yeah. We'll take it a step back. It's right. It's more the lifestyle. Yeah, just showing lifestyle that will resonate with a certain group of people who also do that. Which I found funny is going on a trip recently out of seas, going to Italy, just posting stuff about that. I had more inbound people messaging me and starting conversations with me just from like, hey, I've been there. Like, what are you doing? Like all this stuff versus all the educational content I post that's directly helping people. No one engages with that. But as soon as you post something personal that's just showing what you do in your day-to-day basis, people can relate to that. Yeah.
Perhaps you're the target audience for the pizza.
See, right? We're appealing to both. Yeah. Yeah, but the whole idea is just showing kind of the lifestyle, like showing what do you do on a daily basis, showing consistency. So people will see, wow, you consistently post every single day, you exercise every day, the people will see your character. Oh, you show up every day, you work out, you exercise, you take care of yourself. If I work with you, you're gonna take care of me as a client. That's the idea of instilling that into your prospects' minds too.
What's your ratio of like personal versus business stuff that you do?
That is a great question. So we've talked about this a lot and we've been toying with it. We think the shift is actually 2/3 personal and then 1/3 selling, we'll call it. It's not really selling, but just giving an offer, telling people, hey, book a call with me if you need help, something like that. We found that the reason to do that is because when you post more of the personal content, you're giving something for people to actually relate to you with. And that's when they actually listen. So if you're only trying to sell to them, they just block that out. Like as humans, we're naturally defensive to that because we don't want to be sold. We don't want our resources taken. But if I can just relate to somebody first and post something that is maybe not running, but just a way to that's personal, that's showing me my beliefs, how I think, my processes, that's going to relate with people and help me resonate with them so that when I do post something that is salesy or like, hey, book a call if you need help, they already are listening to me because they're already bought in on me. So that's the shift, is like personal brand versus a lot of people will create an account just for their business and they're only showing the product and they're only showing the service that they provide. Whereas again, if you just flip that camera around and you make a personal brand where you are a person and you're promoting yourself, then if you just happen to sell real estate, people are bought in on you already and they see that you're associated with this real estate company and then they want to work with you then.
Go.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if there is, have you found something like Reels more successful versus Instagram stories versus like a cold post with photos? Yep. What's like the best way to reach the audience?
That's a good question too. Reels has been like the easiest, quickest way. We've built it up to the point where we're doing all of them, Reels, posts, stories. But if you're getting started, I would start with Reels first. And a good way to start is just go through your Reels now and look at the type of stuff that you like to consume and just put your own spin on that. If you find something that's doing well, that it's getting a lot of views, getting a lot of comments, that's in your industry, just study what's already working. So yeah, don't reinvent the wheel, just find what's already working right now and put your own spin on that. Yeah, but that's a good question, yeah. So I would start with the Reels and just build on it from there. And you can repurpose things too. Whatever you post onto your Reels, you can post to your story too, and things are kind of interchangeable.
I get, I'm I'm not saying I get it, but I'm getting to the point I have to understand. But there's one thing to promote a person.
Sure.
How do you promote a business? How does that face realtor? I get it. How does that work? What's the difference?
Yeah. That comes back to what we talked about with marketing principles. So we're all the content that we make is made specifically for the ideal client that we can help. So when we work with a service provider or a service business, the first thing we establish is who is the ideal client that you want to work with. And once we know that, we can work backwards and develop marketing messaging. So once we know who the ideal client is, we know all of their problems, all their pain points, all their frustrations. And what we do is we create messaging that speaks to all those problems. So we're connecting with them because we're talking about the problem that they have. So like if you're looking to buy a house today and you're ready to go and you see an ad pop up that says, hey, look, I'm helping people sell houses like right now. There's immediate alignment there because you have that problem and then something pops up that says, hey, if you have this problem, I can solve that problem for you right away. So for a business, it's just starting with who their ideal client is, and then we're creating messaging that basically speaks and resonates directly with them. Yeah.
I'm thinking it takes me a minute.
Right. So yeah, that's the mindset shift. Like the biggest take home would be the marketing principles, and then we're just applying those principles to social media and how to do it with the content. So let's try to lean into the principles more. So here is like the attention, right? If we're getting attention, we're just running an ad. So that's all we're doing. It's a basic ad. You can set it up on your own. We teach business owners how to set up and run them because they're very, very simple. You can set your budget at whatever you want. You can turn it on and off at any point. But that's what's instantly getting you to start showing up on people's phones. So if you're scrolling on Instagram and you're in this local area and my ad is running here, you're gonna start showing up on people's phone. And then what happens from that is you're just setting up your profile in a way that you're building trust with people once they see that ad. So I know they're gonna see the ad. I know that they're gonna click on my profile. Once they click on the profile, I just wanna make sure it's filled with content that builds trust with them. So you're basically educating them about what you do, showing that you're an expert, showing that you're a real person. That way, once all that traffic comes from your ad, they want to follow you. They want to see what's going on. They're like, wow, this person is an expert. Like they know what they're talking about. And then lastly, you're using your content and messages to just book calls with those people. So if you're generating leads now, a lot of times you're calling those leads, trying to get them on the phone because that's where you can have a sales conversation. It's the same thing here, but you're just warming up those people beforehand. So you're getting them to find that content. They're consuming the content. You can shoot them a message. Hey, did you need help with this? Like I noticed you followed my account. Did you need help with buying a home or anything like that? Oh, you did? Perfect. Let's jump on a call. When's a good time for you? So we're just using social media to generate the leads, warm them up, and then book calls with them so that we can ultimately close deals from that. And yeah, I might go in the weeds with some of this stuff, so just let me know if you guys get a little lost.
Real quick before, because you're on about the business, the individual agent, do you feel like they should be sort of branding like this individual neighborhood on its own to the value of this neighborhood, kind of like you're saying, the expert as the agent? Should they be trying to market it that way? For like each individual subdivision that they're doing too, the value that brings?
I think that's a good way to do it as long as you are a part of that. Like just make sure you're kind of in there because people are constantly being sold on you at that point. And once they're sold on you, they will trust that you will guide them to find the perfect neighborhood or find the perfect home. So whether you're using this neighborhood to promote yourself or you're just focusing on the neighborhood specifically, I think as long as you're a part of it, they're invested into you as the one that can solve their problem.
We spoke of last meeting or the meeting before about there are entire business models of new agents. New agents in the business that only sit open houses. That's all they do. They don't look for listings. They don't shoot for buyers. They grab a buyer in an open house. I'm talking about the Raleigh market. I'm not seeing that yet here. So my point about that is, so when you have just one subdivision, that's 30 houses in this case. You can build a business off of one subdivision. I constantly talk about it, and you don't even have to say I'm an expert. You don't have to say it. You just simply say, I got it. And the same thing, you can work that out on the print sides. You know, there's 9 listings in there or 10. You might only have one of the 10, but that's not the point of it. Subdivision I'm in right now, we got 9 new constructions going, 10 new constructions going in. Here's this floor plan, here's this floor. You don't have to say I shared it. Wanda doesn't have to say I shared this with Ann and everybody else. It's my subdivision. You know, so that's sort of how you would begin to build a business off the back of one thing that you have done. One subdivision, one house.
Yeah, that's helpful. Talk about the benefits, just like he mentioned. Like, okay, this house maybe has 4 bedrooms, it has a backyard, but what does that mean to your end consumer? Well, it means if you have a family, you can raise your family here. If you have pets, you have space for your pets. Just talk about the benefits that they receive versus just talking about the features of the home. Hey, it's got a stainless steel fridge, but what does that do for me, right? Like speak about those things, and that's what resonates with people and gets them to listen. So back to the ads, like we were talking about, it's story driven, right? So it's not salesy. We aren't telling people if you need help buying your house, like click this ad today. We're just giving people an invitation to come check out our content. So it's more like, hey, look, if you're looking to move to the Sneads Ferry area, this is a brand new neighborhood here. Here's all the benefits that you get when you live here, right? It's quiet, it's safe, it's all these things. If you want to learn more about that, just come check out my page. I post content showing all about this area and what you need to know before you move to Eastern North Carolina. That way we're not selling necessarily the home right off the bat. We're just selling people on getting their problem solved. We're talking about, hey, if you want to move to Eastern North Carolina, I create content that shows all about what it's like to live here and why it's safe and why it's perfect for families. Come check it out. So it's very low friction way to get people to just check out our content and see what's going on. And then from that,
you don't always have to accentuate the positive either. You don't always have to, correct me if I'm wrong, I should say that. So for example, when you drive in here, there's a pothole right over there by Taco Bell. You can't miss it. So the fact of the matter is, if you tell the story about that pothole and you're the expert, hey, I just want to let you know there's a pothole right here, and we're reaching out to the North Carolina Department of Transportation. We've engaged in. We've also engaged the businesses right here, which would be Bojangles and Taco Bell, and we're working through this one scenario right here, and we're getting, it's in the process of being permitted. So that's a negative. There's a pothole in this taking place, and if you drive over, your car's going to break.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it makes you an expert.
yeah, it will.
On the whole. So is it wrong to say that you're not accentuating the positive, you're actually doing the opposite?
The transparency is everything. So being authentic and just showing people firsthand, hey, here's a problem, but here's what we're doing to solve it and overcome it. Now you're showing people you're a problem solver. You're the type of person that sees issues, you call them out as soon as they happen, and then you do something to correct them. So it's a perfect opportunity. Anything like that is ideal to be showing people. And that's what the way content's moving is, like authenticity, right? Transparency. People can see through people when they're reading a script now and when they're just saying lines that they've heard somewhere else. Like people can see through that. So if you're just authentic with people, that's what really resonates too.
Will your property manager coordinate the
There you go.
leads? Because I've got 2 properties.
That's where you can position yourself then, right? Like, hey, here's the problem, but here's how I solve it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
That gets people attention too, right? When they see that.
Because the owner overseas, she won't see it.
Yeah.
And if you're living overseas and your house gets fleas.
There you go. That's the tagline. That's the tagline right there. That was perfect. Yeah. Should get you up here. Yeah, that's actually good. Yeah, but it's good. You understand the basic of it. We're trying to just get people's attention, right? And how can you do that? You got to stand out somehow. You got to wear a funny suit. You got to dance sometimes. Just do something to get people's attention. But then if the message you're saying behind that is actually impactful, people will listen. So perfect. So like we talked about with just setting up your profile, this is very basic. It's just keeping in mind once you're running those ads, you just want your profile to be set up in a way where it has all those questions answered for people that they're already looking for. So just be proactive. Think about what are those key things that your ideal client needs answered before they are bought in on you and trust you, and just create content that kind of answers all those things. So like your bio up here, just write a line that says exactly who you help and exactly what you do for them. Put some of these story highlights here on just showing content of like frequently asked questions, of some results you've gotten for other clients, just showing all of this stuff and all this information that people can consume right away. That's the basis of that. The last part was the conversations. So this is showing just an example of like an automation we have set up. So on some of our content, we tell people to comment or DM us a keyword, and all that does is just triggers an automation to collect a lead. So if somebody is interested, it's an easy way to get them like, hey, if you want to learn more information about this, DM me this word. And the word is just ads. So it's 3 letters. So if somebody sends us that word, they're opting in. They're giving us their information. They're saying, hey, I want more information about this. And now we can follow up with these leads. We can book them on calls and say, hey, what's the problem you have? Is there a certain home you're looking for, a specific issue you're looking to get solved? And that's how we're directly generating leads and getting sales from this content versus just getting a lot of views and getting a lot of likes.
So wait, is this an automated? You said that's an automated, so whenever they send it, that automatically pops up?
Yeah. So that's something we've created. Yeah, that's a system that we've made to do that. It's pretty common. There's apps that does it. But unless you're doing a lot of volume, if you just have a system where when someone DMs you something, you can just send it to begin with. But once you build that volume up, if you're getting hundreds of DMs a day, it's almost impossible.
So it's not an Instagram thing, they're like setting or anything?
No. Yeah, it's from a third party. Yeah. You guys have a CRM, right? Do you guys use a CRM? Yeah, a lot of them you can set up automations within there. So we have like trainings and stuff on that. If that would be helpful, I could even just send a training we have on how to set something up like that. That's basic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that just makes it easy. It just makes it easy for people to reach out versus being like, hey, if you need help with this, like give me your name, your phone number, your email address, your credit card. It's like, hey, if you need help with this, just DM me 3 letters. And like now I've captured that lead. So we just want to make it as easy as possible for people to do that. And like we already talked about, the advantage is that now you have an inbound system where people are finding you from your ads versus you going out cold calling people that don't know who you are, have never seen you before, have no trust built with you. And we're trying to stay away from the outdated ad tactics. So things like the boosting posts, collecting the cold leads, those sorts of things, just trying to do it in a smarter way so that we're generating qualified leads. They already know who we are. They're bought in on us. And then the conversations become a lot easier. From there, some basic results. This is just like some ads that we run locally. So you can see here the views on these. And like I mentioned, we're not trying to really harp on the views so much, but just the fact that we've run these ads locally just in Wilmington because that's the market we're targeting. And we've gotten over 300,000 people to see this one video, 100,000, 180,000 there as well. So just the volume, like these videos are being seen by a lot of people, and we know that they are geographically targeted in our area. So Wilmington, Riceville Beach, Leland, Topsail, Hampstead, all these areas, we know that those people are seeing our content.
Do you mind driving home the point that you had to have the first person look before you could get to 374,000?
Oh yeah.
You get the first one, didn't you?
That's really it, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So you had
That's
to
the
just
start.
step out.
That's the
Step
start.
out in the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
talking to Anna right now. You just had to step out.
That's really it, yeah. That's the start.
You had to get the first one first.
You got to start at 1, yep. You got to start there. Yeah. It's a big take home, yep. Did you guys hear the first? Yeah, first. Yeah. So yeah, just to show. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a great point. So this video here with the most views, this is the ad that I started running around September of last year whenever I finished working with you guys. This was just shot on my iPhone. So of all the videos we produce, our selling point is the high quality video content with professional cameras, professional lighting. This is the best performing ad I've run, and I'll have to send it to you guys afterwards so you can check it out. It's just filmed on my iPhone in the car. Hey, Wilmington business owners, if you want to get in front of your potential customers, the easiest way to do that is running Instagram ads just like this one. If you want to see exactly how to do it, come follow my page, come check out my content. I'll show you exactly how to do that. That's all it is, and then put my phone down. So that one has performed the best out of all of the ads I've created. So it just goes to show the foundation, like we talked about, the marketing principles. I had good messaging in there. I called out exactly who I was trying to speak to. Hey, Wilmington business owners. Now, like Bradley mentioned, whenever I go walk around, I go to the gym, I'm out in public, people recognize the face and associate it with the words that I was saying, kind of like the tagline you had. So that's a big thing to think about. Like Tim mentioned, you start with the first video, you get the views. Now that you've kind of started that process, how do you stand out? How do you get remembered by people? These are things that you kind of build over time. But once you can incorporate things like that, where you are creating a tagline or like a brand message, it doesn't really matter what you're saying anymore because people just know you as that guy. So when you become...
If you got fleas, see
I was gonna
me.
say.
There you go, overseas. Yeah, if you're overseas. Yeah, but that's the basis of it, is just you build on these things over time. But like Tim mentioned, start with the first video. Once you've mastered that, build on it, right? Work on the messaging, work on the delivery, work on the branding, all those things behind it will really add up in the end. And I want to say we're close to the end. This is just some basic results from some clients we've worked with. So for an example, for running ads, the potential here, when we're talking about gaining followers is one thing, but that's basically how people opt in. Like they see the ad and they follow you. Once they're following you and checking out the rest of your content, one of our clients here booked 4 high ticket services. She has a marketing agency and she has about 7K in proposals out for 2 other clients with so many great leads. And these are just from video content that she posted on social media. So she's getting people's attention. She's able to generate sales calls with them and then offer her services to them in exchange. Another client here, this was the same one. A couple days later, she said in 5 days, she had 45 followers. She booked 2 services and spent about $200 in her ad spend. So keep in mind here, if you guys are all selling a high ticket service and selling someone's home or helping someone buy a home, it doesn't take much to generate a positive return. Like she spent only about $200 to generate 45 leads, get all this traffic to her page, and then sell some of her services. And lastly here, Bradley's dad over here has a home renovation company in Raleigh area. This was a massive win for them. So just from running ads on Instagram, they had a lead come in that wanted to spend $350,000 with them to renovate their home. So it came directly from Instagram. So a lot of people have misconceptions of, oh, my ideal customer isn't on Instagram, they're not on Facebook. If they're seeing your ads and they have a problem and they want that problem solved, and you show up in front of them and say, hey, look, I solved that exact problem, that's kind of the power of it here. So
It's also not just a lead, it closed. So
yeah,
obviously everyone's close rate is going to be different, but there are leads that are ready to pull the trigger on Instagram, not just shopping around and like, oh yeah, this is my budget. It closed. So,
yeah.
and obviously it's insane. It's a lot of hard work that goes into that. You guys know that. But there also are real results. And the primary marketing budget has gone solely on Instagram, which is insane.
Yeah, it's cool to see that.
Another question. So with jobs like that, are you finding out that those people are finding them on Instagram and then doing more research? Do you see that that's common, where they dig into them a little bit more before?
Did he speak to that? Yeah.
With a high ticket, obviously with a renovation or something like that, our messaging is, hey, check us out, we're transparent. Here's our processes. Here's how we do things differently. Are you tired of other contractors' change orders or like bait and switch type of tactics? We are transparent. So yeah, they are doing research, and that is where your trustworthy profile comes into play. That's where like a reputation and like history matters. But the initial gaining the attention, they've gone through Instagram.
Yeah, it is a long sales cycle, I think is kind of what you're getting at. And like he mentioned, that's something you learn once you start creating the content too, because you'll book a lot of these calls and you'll talk to a lot of prospects and they're going to tell you common concerns. They're going to be like, oh, well, I researched this other company and they offer this. And that's a signal to me like, okay, let me go make some more content that says, okay, this is what we do. Like it's the marketplace is informing you about the problems that they're having real time. And it's up to you as the business owner to pivot and transition and adapt to that and say, okay, I keep getting the same objection every time I get on a call with somebody. Why don't I just make some content that overcomes that objection so that they can consume it beforehand? And now it's no longer an objection for them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something, even though this is obviously a presentation, but I wanted to add in that I use Instagram to find referral agents because I feel like it helps you get to know people without picking up the phone and calling them. So like I had a friend who was buying a house in California, so I searched real estate agents in California, and then I watched a ton of reels until I found one that I thought she would mesh with, and then I called them. And
There you go.
I let them know like, hey, your Instagram content's working.
There you go. Yeah, same process there, right? She just has that database of content that people can consume, and then once people find it, they can see exactly how that person could help them. Yeah, it's fun, guys. It's fun. And that's the take home here that I want everyone to have is just understanding those principles, the principles of sales, the principles of marketing. If you know those things, you will never fail because you can just adapt to whatever the current trends are. Right now, people are on Facebook, they're on Instagram. Just apply those principles that work everywhere and apply them to the current landscape of things, and you guys will be fine.
In the last paragraph, Nick instilled a sense of urgency. He removed an objection. What was the second thing that he did? He did.
Oh, this is a limited time offer, so there is scarcity there. Yeah, we're only taking applications for the next week.
The
So
other thing was exclusivity. He said you have to apply. Are you good enough to work with us? So we did 3 strategies.
Principles,
in the last
yeah.
paragraph.
principles. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having us out here. Seriously, if there is any questions, I don't know how much time we have, but if anybody has questions, if there's anything major people can think of now, we're happy to help.
What have you seen time of day for posts is the best?
Yeah, look at your analytics. So the platform will tell you a lot, yeah, which is very helpful. It'll tell you, I actually just posted about this. I'll send you the post. I reviewed my own analytics and kind of gave a breakdown of like how you can do the same thing. So basically it'll show you when are the times when your actual followers are the most active. And when you post during those times, they're more likely to see it. Yeah, that's a good question though. That's something you would build on over time. Once you have the consistency of posting, now how can we make that better? Well, look at when our followers are the most active. And when they're most active, start posting then. No, I think I think that's really the key is like the personal aspect. That's really just how you're gonna stand out from other people. Because anybody can take their phone out and record an empty house and say, here's the house, here's the bedrooms, here's the things. But what makes you stand out is you are actually putting yourself onto the video. You're showing your character, you're showing your personality, your charisma, your energy. That's what people are buying into.
I think a lot of us separate the two, like what we post something and it's strictly a listing or whatever on the business page and never anything personal.
Yeah.
We have that personal page also that's like, and then there's 2 things you gotta manage there.
Yeah, it gets complicated. I would say as long as you can tie it back to the way we think about it is like, what is the best interest of our client, like our ideal client? That's really the shift, is like everything is just about the client. Like, yes, it's me and the content, it's me talking, but it's speaking to the problems that they have. It's speaking to the desires they have and the frustrations they have and how I help them overcome them, basically. On like, it's like a deep marketing tactic, but it's just the principles, right? Because what's going to get people to pay attention? They want to hear about their problems and how you can solve their problems, versus no one wants to hear me talk about what I'm doing today. They just want to know about their problems and how they can get their problem solved. And once you know that, it makes it easy, because now I know I don't have this pressure to like make crazy content about myself necessarily. I just have to make it about the problems that they have and what's on top of mind for them.